says we have completely different compositions heading into Haven.
Yeah, it is a big switch up for both of these squads. I'm definitely excited to see how we get the synergy between those two initiators. Brock with the breach, John with that fade in action on Haven. I think there's a lot of potential with this agent. So once we eventually get on into things, it's going to be really interesting to see.
Right.
But as we have a moment here to pause, I think the other interesting note that kind of slipped us by with all the chaos of the weird comp that Ghost went into is they're returning back to the Astra here for a Proto.
Yeah, and you say returning, but again, we haven't seen Ghost Gaming with a Proto. A Proto, back when he was playing up with LG, he would play up on agents like Astra, but he wasn't exactly, I guess you could say, trusted to keep playing that agent. But again, the smoker spot here on Ghost, it's heavily on his favor, and at least on this map, Astra makes a lot of sense. They need the utility bump. They still have the chamber. To be completely honest, it makes up for the one trademark, and it makes up for a lot of space.
Looks like all those technical issues have been alleviated. So Ghost Gaming versus Guard, both these teams hunting for their first win as we hop straight on in to the action. Guard looking to send 4 strong out towards mid.
It's pretty slow for now, but look at the population here for Ghost around B. 3 players already between C-Link. We're ready for that sake. But at least the Guard, they have to go back over towards Garage. This is good though, good approach.
Yeah, Jonah already activating that dash, but they're going to be forced to cancel in this one. Very quick rotations out of Ghost and that Astra utility doing well to stall, but now with the rotate coming back towards it, Koala is alone. He does have the rendezvous to get out. How much can he get done here?
Oh, Koala gets one and boots out of there. And that's it, essentially. He can just wait for the rest of his teammates to rotate on in for the retake.
But now they just have plentiful utility to work back in. Brock's stun will be up soon. John's utility is just around the corner. I'm taking a look at how he wants to use these 2 Prowlers on the work back in.
It's going to be real slow. At least for all of these players here on Ghost. But more importantly, the Guard, they don't have any sort of watch back over towards short or over long. That makes it even worse. Koala noob! This is all just a firing range for him as he takes down 3. Valid now the last one remaining, and of course he goes down. All right, Ghost, they overwhelm Guard to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, Koala, the hero of that round in the individual department, but the amount of value that those Prowlers got was absolutely massive. The player in towards Graffiti was instantly cleared out. That dog moves so quickly. Once it has a trail, it's so incredibly difficult to shoot, especially on these pistol rounds, and there was no recourse to the player tucked on in as well. The second Prowler got value, ensured that no second frag, no trade was going to come on through, but overall, this is just a round of Koala noob, man. The amount of impact you can find with Chamber, 2 trips or not, doesn't seem to matter.
I was about to say, yeah, 2 trips or not, and especially on Haven, I was actually very much looking forward to see how Ghost was actually going to change some of their compositions. But again, like I said, the Astra kind of makes sense for that composition.
Yeah, and you already see the value here in kind of the opening gambits with that siege. You throw out that tether, combo it with a nade on through, and it essentially just denies that A main control immediately. However, for the Guard, that's not their destination. All 5 players ready here towards long, and a Proto gets stunned. This could get dangerous.
Proto, so with a Spectre, it should be a whole lot of damage from him alone. But it actually only equates into 1 frag. Koala noob, he's trying to take 1 back, and it's just frags all the way down the board. Jonah P and Net getting 2 as we equalize things down to a 3v3.
We have, but still plentiful utility. Aftershock on in, the Prowlers follow up. They haven't even gotten the spike plant down, but this retake is already full force. Nismo for the first, Brock here as well, and there's just nothing doing for Guard. Well controlled by Ghost Gaming.
Through the SMGs getting taken away. Not exactly bad there from the Guard, and of course getting that spike down gets their credits up. This is actually very much a plentiful buy for them, and more importantly, they actually have been getting a lot of different approaches here from Ghost in the last few rounds. Just trying to actually see what their playstyle is like, because again, this composition, it changes up completely the way they feel.
Yeah, I don't think they even ever actually got that spike on down. It was the utility that was just so oppressive to work back in from both the initiators on Ghost Gaming. They never even had a chance, and that was one of the big conditions for guarding that round. Here again, we see the opening spurt of utility. Out comes that stun. It's followed up by a nade. The combo is perfection because you have multiple options. It can be the Fade utility. It can be the Breach utility. It's giving Nismo so many opportunities to get value out of the paint shells.
But you just never see that early on in the round. Usually you just see that spot
Astra
for
meta
Brock.
dies.
Right, exactly. You usually see that as more of a response to information, but again, great cross up, but now you still have a lot more little spots to deal with here for the Guard. Yeah, they finally made it past one A main choke point, but again, Nismo sitting in the back of short. You still have a very quick response from Brock, who's actually currently recharging his fault line.
Yeah, and because of the chamber nerfs,
And it's
look
back.
how deep that trademark has to be. It's all the way close on the flank, so these C-long players for Ghost get up in towards the flank quickly. However, they had already forthcoming Paranoia in.
Oh, and it's going to be Net to respond. Perfect stuff from Net. They still have to watch out for Nismo. Nismo is just cooped up over in short. But again, this is why we're not seeing anything from Guard. They've completely abandoned short. They know that Ghost, if they have someone there, their position isn't exactly going to be efficient. But there it was, the retake from it. Nismo's actually able to take one back from it. 30 HP remaining. The rest of his teammates, again, they just need the distraction to actually make their way in. Two of them are corralled over towards Heaven. There's a great smoke and the front line back in main to stop him, but it just doesn't matter. Koalanu pops out, gets a double from Heaven. And of course, just one straggler behind right after. Ghost, they're able to get a third, but Mimi, again, it was just very consistent pressure from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, those like kind of openings combining with the Raze utility are excellent, but kind of a big miss there by Guard. They sent one player in the late round to try and clear out and get rid of that player in short, but by that time, it was almost too late to clear that space because Ghost was ready for the retake. Yep. Once that short player took contact, Guard was split. They were crunched in from either side, and Nismo just stayed alive. Great work from him. A 7-1 start for the Raze. Guard is just crippled economically in this one.
Teleport's ready.
Just gonna have to be a quick one. One trademark gonna be placed down over in Garage, but again, it's that combo alongside the Astra on the back of sight. It just feels so overwhelming just looking at the radar. You even have the breach on this side of the map.
Yeah, and over towards C, the setup is so good. A rendezvous to get Koala Noob out, and there was a star in close for him. The Astra makes sure the dog doesn't catch him, and Koala not stunned by any of this utility. Guard is patient. They're not disrespecting the Nebula, so he won't get anything out of that position just yet. However, in mid, that Nebula is going to be activated, instead the Gravwell to come on through. But Ghost not giving away any of these fights.
Shadows traveling.
Oh, smoke to cover trademark. And of course, a lot of it is actually being spotted from C. That's at least a bit of info here for Ghost. Maybe some false info. They'll just keep a very sharp eye on Garage.
And Koala can take this gamble
look at
because
this.
of the chamber nerfs, right? Because there's no longer a second trademark holding that deep on in. With that flank coming through, Guard will have to expedite on this hit, but Nismo still has a paint gels to deny, and there's utility for this fade as well.
Yeah, very, very easy paint shells for him. It's going to be that alongside the fault line, but it doesn't actually equate into the frag. That goes a whole lot of information. Fade on the front side. John QT just looking for a bit of a firing range. Going to be able to get two. Can he make it a third? No, it's not going to happen. Koalanu looking for an actual second. Throws a satchel at the floor, actually. All right, very, very cheeky there. Nismo could have definitely just gone for the frag, but that works out too. Fourth round back in the hands of Ghost.
The timing in which that haunt was used was really good out of Ghost. Right when that stun comes through, right when the aftershock is deployed, that's when the haunt is there because there's already so much to worry about for the players of Guard on site. And well, Ghost doesn't immediately follow up that haunt. What they get is the terror trails. And the way that these Prowlers have been played by John QT, it's been incredibly conservative. He saves them practically always for the retake. So both those dogs were heading on in. The player in Hell had a terror trail, so the Prowler was going straight towards them. These utility combinations for Ghost are exceptional. But Guard, they're just going to go back into things. They buy an attacking-sided operator for Saya player. A little interested they're not taking a pause here. They seem to have their solution, and another one of these 4-1s leaning towards mid is their initial answer.
Nismo on the front side. There's nothing else to cover. No trademark here, so it's just going to be Nismo having to deal with a whole lot of chaos. What on earth was that pullback? Jonah P. snapped back into the middle of Garage, but still somehow the Guard with full control. But again, no trade back on Ghost. They still have all five.
Yeah, and look how much info they have. They have a player pushed in towards short over towards A. They realize where Guard is. They're fine to concede Garage control because they still have such heavy pressure in towards lanes.
There goes the first frag back from Proto, but finally an entry there from Net. 2 players in the back line, 3 players in the back line for Ghost already. There is no way the Guards are going to make their way forward without a miracle. Net's able to get 2. Rolling Thunder in, 21 HP, and he's taken C.
Yeah, they have the space here. Now Spike coming on down, but Net needs to continue to fight because Ghost, they just want the duels immediately. Brock finds it. Now Valen is alone. A 1 versus 2, but the teleport gets him to safety.
The leader, Valen. Stepping up now, waiting for any sort of contact. Again, Ghost completely abandoning Garage as of now, not throwing out any sort of early utility. But again, Brock doesn't have anything to actually use. but it doesn't even matter. The early peek from Koala Noob, an even more awkward crossover from Valen. That's going to be finally around. Going the distance, but still a 5th for Ghost.
Yeah, what a start for Ghost Gaming. 5 rounds in a row versus Guard. And again, the way they're playing information in these setups has been really nice. They're consistently just kind of varying where that single trademark is going and then just stacking everywhere else. Even though there isn't that second piece of util, they're fine because with this breach in play, they just keep that breach player towards one of the links. They can stun pretty much anywhere on the map from that position, and they can reply or even call for Astro utility if something is coming towards B. So on this defensive side, Ghost isn't losing a whole ton without Koala Noob's second trademark. Guard, though, some solutions need to happen here. Both Saya and Trent yet to find the board. They've been flanked, they've been destroyed in these retakes, and they'll take a tactical timeout to figure things out.
Yeah, again, very simply put, the Guard aren't finding clean ways to make their way into sites whatsoever. Ghosts, for the last 3 rounds, they have found such easy ways to either get first contact, first kill, or of course to stop an approach from Guard entirely. Again, we saw an approach over towards B 3 rounds ago. That was thwarted. The reroute back over towards C was disastrous. Same thing back over in mid back to A. It's just, it's tough here for the Guard because it's not like they don't have the utility to actually make it in on site. Hell,
Sure.
They have 3 flashers. What's going on?
I think it's a lot of what John is doing on this fade, really, because they've been really comfortable on Ghost Gaming for kind of fighting for this early space with that Seize with the nade combo. If they don't make contact, they fall back, play an incredibly passive setup. The operator being able to hold one extremity helps that. And then, by the time a hit comes through from Guard, the stun is recharged for Brock. There's going to be a haunt available as well. And those dogs are always getting saved, so this util on the work back in has just been so much. And Guard yet to find a solution. Jonah, even with the knives up, just obliterated by Koala in mid.
Yeah, what a flick from Koala Noob, but he could get a little bit more. A couple more players back over in mid, tempting the peak, and he even has Brock there for a bit of support utility. Out goes the peak from Gianni, but the rest of the Guard, they have to go back into Garage. A Proto is going to be the first contact.
And he will. Stun available here for Ned. A Proto could be in a bit of trouble, but he dodges it.
Great
And while the
smoke.
paranoia comes through, out comes the Nightfall. No one can hear a thing, and a Proto is thriving in this situation. 3 picked on up. John to close. A Prime Gaming flawless from nothing.
That was incredible. A Proto puts up the old cage, comes out of his own cage just fine, puts up the Nebula, and he's able to essentially just stretch his legs there. So much space to deal with. Of course, the TP doesn't help, but he still had 2, 3 more players in the middle of site that could have been able to trade him out. That was just easy stuff from a Proto where he can just go through 50-50s there with the Nebula.
I mean, the reaction is just so good. Not only is it the Nightfall coming on out, it's the stun forward, it's the players pushing from spawn. You're so worried about the util running you down that no one is watching for a Proto. He just plays that one to perfection, and eco round or not, doesn't matter. No chance for Saya player to even get a shot off now 2 rounds in a row.
Okay, cool.
What?
He's having one of those games already. Just a couple of rounds in, and he just cannot stop nailing these shots off the op. Again, nothing being missed here by Gian, but you still have to watch out for the fact that the Guard, only pistols, only Spectres. Not much of a chance going into the round to begin with, but Koala Noob on the front side, he gets smoked off. So actually saved there in a very quick instant. Still 3 players coming out from long. John QT, the only person here on that front line. It's going to be 2 players remaining on the post plant.
And that Seize is so good because it denies a refrag. John is safe to be able to swing. He isolates a duel. Anyone attempting to trade will be locked in by that Seize. So now, 2 versus 4 in this retake. There's so much utility. Brock has a full kit available.
Cosmic Divide actually going up early too. There goes the early fault line. Alongside the nade too. What a combo in the middle of sight.
He just saves here. The round's over. I mean, he's walled out. An operator, you want to keep this. These retakes for Ghost Gaming, they have just been incredibly stellar. Brock, again, the discipline with the utility for both him and John has been perfection. And it's not like it's not like Ghost isn't going for things in the early round, but they're very, very intentional about what pieces of utility they are employing when they go for those early fights. It's normally going to be that haunt or that stun, something that's going to work back on a recharge, which means these retakes just continue to be so potent.
Yeah, we've already seen it from a Proto, at least an early Nebula every round 2. Again, Brock and John doing the exact same thing with at least some of their rechargeable utilities. So Ghost, they have the right flow chart, and the guard keeps falling into it every single round. So again, the timing is just going to keep working out in their favor. Of course, they keep getting the opportunity to do so. This is great from Nismo, though. Double satchel going into the top along, and he gets a whole lot of info from behind the Nebula, but he's not able to get the frag.
And now what do you do if you're guard? You spent so much time trying to open things up and win this space over towards A main. Nothing gets done out of it, so now they have to be super concerned about their flank. They have 2 players posted, watching out towards mid, watching over towards C long. This A default, we're what, almost halfway through the round, or just about 40 seconds in, and the information is relatively minimal. Now the dog comes on down, but Ghost is still on the winning side of this info game. Both initiators have rotated on over. If this comes to a hit for guard, Ghost is going to have all the resources to stop it.
And the Prowler coming out at the same time, getting some more info back over in short. So again, if they weren't trusting this third person here, they can definitely trust it now. Brock sticks around on the A site, and the TP comes in, and Brock takes him down. You still have to have John QT in the back of site try to hold it down, and indeed it works. Takes down the first. Trent!
What?
Trent just gets taken down, full flashed by John QT, and you still have Sire player, a 1v4. His op has been actually very, very stellar. Last week, had quite the showcase in a losing effort, but again, this round, he's not exactly going to be able to show any of that prowess. 20 seconds left. He's going to have to run away. He does get one exit, but 8-0 going back to Ghost. Yet another effort from the guard. Yet another take thwarted early.
10
Well,
seconds left.
Ghost sleepers, wake up! This is your alarm clock, guys. They're 8-0 up over the guard. Good
morning!
Good morning, guys. This team has been looking really excellent. Last weekend, even in their loss against XSET, and now in this series, too, it's been really well set up, pulling out a new composition and working incredibly well with it. Saya player, not even given the gift of saving that operator. This Koala noob guy, I don't know what's going on with him.
What are your thoughts?
But he's pretty good at the game. The amount of value that he's finding with that operator on the defensive side, not only in information, but also just in the shots he's hitting. One of the reasons these retakes have been so potent is because round after round, an early fight is taken by the op. Koala falls back because the rendezvous is an excellent ability, and he always sets it up in a position where he can get away. And thus far, guard, I don't feel like their utility has been that good to stop it on out. A lot of the time you talk about Chaos to counter out a Chamber who's doing really well, but we haven't really seen them finding that potential with this composition just yet, which is a little surprising considering how much flashes, how much util they have. It's just been well played by Koala.
It's just no changes too, right? It's the same exact composition, or a very similar one that we ended up seeing from back in Masters. For the guard, a lot of question marks. It could be answered by potentially the end of the game. They are actually freeing themselves up back over towards that B site. They do have full control.
And that's interesting. The Aftershock is saved. Brock doesn't commit it. He wants to use all his utility for the retake, and a big part of that, a big catalyst in this round could be a Proto. He's patient, waiting on the flank. Once the utility goes on out, he'll activate this position, and it could be devastating against guard.
He's going to keep waiting. They have no clue. I love how much the guard are waiting here. A Proto, the timing is perfect. How many can he get out of this? He has to get 3. 1, 2, not the third. Jonah P stays alive, and now Brock's job is a whole lot harder. And indeed, it's Jonah P to get the frag. Finally, the guard safely make their way into a site and safely take a round.
It seems like guard found that alarm clock as well. They just go back to basics. Hit over towards B. Hold strong in the post, and obviously the big linchpin in that round, being able to hold the space over towards Garage, re-flank at the same time that Ghost was committing their player over towards the flank. It works well for them, but now it kind of comes down to the question of consistency, because one round really isn't going to cut it on this attacking side. You'd hope for 3-4 at a bare minimum to be able to make this a workable game. But some of those resources coming around, Net will be close to that Rolling Thunder if they can get him an orb, get in towards that site, and hopefully get a bit more space for themselves in the post plant to try and get ahead of that utility. If you can force them back deep enough, if you can continue the fight and not give Ghost an opportunity to stage that retake, you can get yourself into a pretty good position, as long the ult orb there does seem to be the destination.
Okay, that's a big smoke, and they know it popped up too. A Proto, what's the job to be done here? Okay, he does let one fly. It's a bit awkward, but he actually starts to go to deep with the whole time for maybe 1 or 2 more. He does end up going down to retake mode here for Ghost.
Yeah, and there's so much utility again for this retake. Net, he'll get the spike down, but Nismo has reclaimed space over towards Garage. The Rolling Thunder will go aggressive, but I don't think it catches anyone, and there's no one to follow it up. Sure, it gives a moment of respite, a moment to think for guard, but Ghost still very much in control. They'll pause, wait for the re-aggression, and they're ready for it.
Wow. Yeah, that's perfect. Now, Only 2 more pins to be knocked down. Single player in the middle of sight. Same thing with Trent. It's easy for the Chef Nismo. It's the 9th round. They're back for Ghost. But again, it's tough there for the guard because, again, they finally make their way into a middle of sight. But again, just a couple of picks here and there. And Ghost, they already had way more of an advantage onto guard at the post plant.
I've been so impressed with these Prowlers. Round after round, the amount of just reveal of information they're getting on the work back in has been huge. In this one, out comes a Prowler and stuns up a player. Nismo just satchels forward, follows it up in such a good way. I don't feel like we were seeing that from the play on Fade last week. It was a couple teams that were kind of committed in towards that C's utility. It was the phase setup where it was a lot of just trying to get early value out of the haunt. I don't think we've seen a squad use these Prowlers to as good effect Ghost is doing here yet. And, well, when it's not the Prowlers, it's a stun. Fight forward towards mid. A Proto gets one. They completely disengage. No harm, no foul, no refrag from guard.
That's a very familiar sight. No refrag and no Ghost. Very free to do whatever they want with the rest of this round. Again, they are going to have to retake a bit back over on A purely because they have 0 information there. But the guard, wait, what? Because of this, because of the lack of information on A, they've actually called a full rotation back over to the A side. But again, the guard, they're going to take C for free. But because nobody's here, those don't actually have to need to worry. They have all the utility in the world, and they've shown that their retakes are good.
This is what guard's been asking for. An opportunity where, sure, they're at a man disadvantage, but they can get forward. However, out comes the Nightfall. No one can hear a thing.
Jonah P getting absolutely swarmed too, somehow able to make his way out. There goes the Aftershock, an immediate TP back for Valen. 2 players in the middle of the site, make that 3 actually. Valen knocks up, oh no, takes that 1, but it's still has to be Valen. Valen picks up the classic and still able to get the frag, but a Proto coming up on the flank. Easy 3k4, John QT, no. Okay.
What is going on?
A real awkward scramble. That's all I can really say. Chaos, buffoonery in the middle of site. Hey, but it is what it is.
And Ghost wins it again, man. And Ghost wins it again. The combination, the retakes are so well rehearsed. Nightfall comes on in, covers the area and back site. Aftershock follows that up. It shells covers the area that the Aftershock doesn't. Once they're out on the site, it gets a little scuffed, but the people that needed to still won those duels. That's a back-breaking round for guard.
He tried to go for the mid-air knife. Oh, jeez. Yeah, desperation in a very desperate moment. But again, it's not just the round that's a desperate moment. Really, this entire game has started to become desperate already. The guard is starting to become deja vu, almost exactly the same exact scoreline we ended up seeing against 100T. First half of Fracture. And it's their first impression here in VCT, and they made the exact same impression for the last few weeks, for the last 3 losses, essentially, that they've had. Still trying to go up that mid side again. It is still Spectres in their hands. They are still trying to fight in a bit more of a closer range. They did make some good space back over in the mid side to potentially take on a 1v1, but a great rotation back from Brock. It covers up B again. So much util being used up by the guard. The rest of the round is a bit weird for them.
Sure, so much use for the guard, but same can be said for Ghost. They find it somewhat favorable trade, I would say, with Net still having bountiful utility on this breach. If they can wait, find a good opportunity to hit in towards a site here, it's a better start, at least in what we've seen in a few of these other rounds. However, for Ghost, they found a good reset point. They maybe overcommitted a little bit towards holding that space in B, but they completely reset. All those recharge abilities are back online. Stun for Brock, he still has 1 flash, and John will have that haunt available.
Oh, great fault line. Brock was already backing out, but again, the guard once again, clean take back over to the B site, but a very early Cosmic Divide is going to kind of force the guard to make a big decision here. Do they actually hold on to site based off of this? How is that mid hold going to go down to Net, or excuse me, Saya player? He's stuck with a shotgun in the bottom of mid. How can he actually hold that down? John QT does actually pop out, take down Net. You still have at least 1 player for the guard, 2 players for the guard back over in Link. What are these positions? What are these spots? Could it actually work? Spike planted in front, and it does work. Valen and Trent able to combine for 3. A Proto trying to be a hero, but with 20 HP, just a paper cut should be able to do it. Valen with a couple of shots through the smoke, expecting that Proto should be off the defuse. And indeed he is! But a Proto! Through the smoke, takes down Valen, and he is gonna get the defuse. Unreal, a Proto.
What a Red Bull clutch to find for this guy at the last moment. It looked like there was another opportunity for the guard to come back into things. to get themselves something more in this half, but somehow, someway, a Proto pulls things off, and now the Guard, but one round to work with when we come back from the break.
Right there.
Well, Ghost Gaming looking spooky as they find an 11-1 half here, getting things going in dominant fashion on the Guard's choice of Haven, guys. Well, I don't know if we have Gus, but at least we have some good games here. Ghost Gaming 11-1, like we're talking about, as we look to get going in towards the second pistol round here. Guard, suffice it to say, this is a must-win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Must win to say the least. Sorry, some technical difficulties. We are back, but also some difficulties here for Guard. It's the one round, all pivotal pistol round, as we like to say. One person in the back line, that fault line should be ready and raring to go, but it's not the only thing ready and raring to go. 3, 4 players sitting around this B site for the Guard. It should be a good hold if Ghost actually opt in, but that's great. Prowler on the front side to clear out Garage, but it's still going to be 3 players here to try to hold down C. There goes a big flash into the back line. Nade covering out the corner.
Proto?
It's actually working out here for Ghost. A Proto, sneaking up that back line. You still have to have Saya player to try to frag that, but still a Proto with a double. Koala Noob just clamping down on Trent. Again, a 4-man hold from the Guard on the C side, and they weren't able to do anything.
Planted.
Well, Jonah P is yet debut here in Stage 2, looking for an opportunity, but it doesn't look like it's going to come to him. 2 players holding on that crossfire, and a third ready to swing over towards the spawn. Ghost Gaming, map point already secured. I mean, what a good reaction on that pistol round. So many moments where Guard looked like they had it completely stopped, but Ghost, it's the discipline. They've committed a lot of utility, sure, but they're still comfortable in taking the pause, taking a moment, looking for a new opportunity. The comms there, obviously good. A Proto likely calling out that he had an opportunity, that he had a moment, and that it was the rest of the team's job just to keep Guard distracted, keep their focus elsewhere. And with the 2K coming out from the Astra, not much more that you could ask for. Guard, one more chance.
Teleport's ready.
No, not a whole ton of information coming off of that one. And now the question is, does Trent phase check off that? He will. Peeks forward a little bit with the Stinger and receives damage from the other side. Ghost is still patient. They're waiting for an opportunity. Trent gives it, but through the box, the Stinger stings. Well, it seems like we may have lost Gus
Yeah, we're
again.
good.
We're still into the
Yeah.
action here.
The
Ghost
difficulty.
Gaming.
We're good. We're good. Still going into the middle of the site. Ghost Gaming. Again, all the space in the world, but that 1 kill already from Trent does at least leave a whole lot of utility for them to be able to retake with. Again, they needed the guiding lights in his pocket to be able to do this. This pop from Brock would be so good, though. Out go. Oh, that kill is even better. Nismo on the front side, able to get some free ones. 2 for himself, still 2 more over towards the heaven side, but the drop is just a meat grinder. A Proto able to get 2 for his own, and Valen, the last hope in a 1v3, dropping essentially to his death. He does try at least for 1, but that's just done.
Attackers win.
13-1 for Ghost. It's practically flawless.
What a way to start the series here for Ghost Gaming. Guard pick in towards this